So hi, so we found ourselves down on the mat. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a side lying series, and the main emphasis of this is to work some of our deep hip muscles and some of our glutes. So these are the muscles around our bottom and the side of the hips that we're going to be focusing on, and where hopefully you'll feel that during these exercises. These exercises are going to be quite basic, quite simple exercises that are suitable for most people. But like with all of the exercises that we're doing, it's important to remember that it's your body, it's your choice. So do what you feel comfortable with. Don't do anything that you're not happy with. You know your body better than anyone else. And obviously, if you want to seek further advice, please do speak to your physio or doctor or anyone else about these things. These exercises are so important for a huge age range and a huge variety of people. One of the things that we know, if you're getting a little bit older, there's a recent systematic review and meta-analysis that's come out that said if you've got sort of arthritis in your knees, or actually any problems with your knees, the stronger you have these muscles up around the hips, the more that can actually help improve your function, so your ability to do the things that you enjoy, and reduce the pain and the symptoms that you're getting down there by strengthening these muscles up here. And that's the same if you have hip problems. One of the most common things again is we strengthen your hips. Same with your back. The stronger these muscles are around the hips, the more that will help offload the back. And if you're completely the other end of the spectrum, perhaps you're a really avid runner and you really just want to increase those running times or things like that. Lots of runners only train in one plane of movement. So if we can get these muscles working as well, that can actually hugely help your running because it provides a lot more support to that pelvis, helps with that running alignment and position. So I'd say these are probably some of the most crucial ones that we can work on. I'm going to talk through a lot of different techniques in terms of the position that we achieve. And that's really just so you get the most out of each exercise that we do. If at any point you need to rest, please do so. I will keep doing the exercises with you. So we're going to take ourselves down onto our side. What's really useful to have is just a small head cushion. So I've got one of the ones from the ABPI, just a small soft 1-inch head cushion. You can just use a pillow or cushion at home. I'm going to have my arm out nice and long. If that's not comfortable for you, please bend it in or do what you feel comfortable with your arm and your head, because it doesn't change too much of the exercises further down the chain. So I'm going to fold this in half and bring this between my arm and my head. So move that one out of the way. Good. So I'm going to bring this in here. Good. And what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to check my foot position. So I don't want my feet too far forward in the same way I don't want them too far back, so it's going to arch my back. So I'm going to bring my feet just nicely in line. So my heels, my hips, my shoulders are in line. Okay. I'm then going to take my hand on my top hip. And I'm actually going to draw my hip away from me. So you can see for myself, that creates a hollow here. I don't want you to be sinking down in the side, because that means nothing really is happening in the middle. And even though we are focusing on this, we can get some engagement through here as well. That's always going to help. So draw that hip away from you. Imagine a little chocolate under there that you're not going to squash, so we don't want that to melt. And then I want you to tip your hips slightly forwards. So imagine you've got a light on the front of your hip here, and it's beaming down onto the floor towards the front of your mat, or even just off that mat there. So keep that position, okay? And we're going to start with an exercise. It's called your Clam level 1, okay? So relax this shoulder, try not to crunch this up here. And then we're just going to open the hip and then slowly down. Good. So a simple movement. My feet are staying together. My knees are just opening and closing. I'm breathing out to open and in to close. Remember that headlight's pointing down, keeping that chocolate there under my hip. Now, some of you might end up bringing your rib cage forwards, so keep that rib cage in as well. Now, you will have a different range of movement maybe from me, and that's fine. So we might start to feel something gently working around the side of the hip here. Good. And then what we can do is take ourselves into our level 2 position. So we can lift the heels off, keeping the heels together. We open and close. Breathing out to open, in to close. So we get some more engagement through the side of the hip here. Good. So this is a nice position. You'll have a much bigger range. Really important here is I'm controlling that bottom foot. That's not coming up and down, that's staying nicely lifted. And we should start to be feeling that in that side of the hip. Don't forget that chocolate. Don't forget that head light coming down here. I'm trying to keep the rest of the length. When you did your warm-up in standing, you'll have thought length through the side of your body and even through the top of your head. So we're keeping that position. Good. We talk about breathing out through the mouth and in through the nose. So as we do Pilates, we talk a lot about breathing. Yes, it can be important. It can get you most from the exercise, but the most important thing here is that you just keep a nice even breathing pattern so you don't hold your breath. Our muscles need oxygen to work, and that should be our focus. Good. So we're hopefully starting to warm up through the side of that hip there. Good. 2 more. Good. And just relax down. Just give that hip a little bit of a relax. Ease off. Good. So now we're going to do some clam openers. So you can either have your feet down in a level 1 or lift them back up in that level 2. So we open the knees need to stay nice and wide here. We extend that leg away. We bring the feet back together and then we close. So I'm keeping that control through this part of my body. Good. In and close. And I know if my waist isn't dropping, keeping that rib cage in. Good. Then I know I'm getting some core engagement too. So some of those deeper muscles just working gently in the background there. Good. So when I do this open, my knees aren't folding together. That's opening there. We're working now on a bit of an endurance. That bottom leg will also be working. Good. If this becomes too much, remember the lower the bottom leg, drop it back down. So I'll give you an easier version. That's here. So it's a smaller range that we work in. Good. So lots of Pilates exercises just get harder by increasing the range or destabilizing ourselves further. So we're taking something away. So whether that be lifting a foot off the floor or coming up. Good. We'll do 2 more. And again, breathing out and in and out and in. Good. Okay. So hopefully we started to warm up through that side of the hip. We're now going to increase some length. So my leg is now nice and long reached away. Again, remember I'm not sinking on that side. Draw that hip away from you. It's really, I find it useful to have my hand on the side of my hip here because then it encourages me to lengthen this side. So keeping that length in, I'm going to lift the leg. So my ankle, knee, hip and shoulder all nicely in line. So we're going to do your side leg kick here. And this is your side leg kick level 2. So we bring the leg forwards. We then flex the foot and we bring it back. And again, we come forwards and back. Now, you could always rest your leg in between a movement here. Imagine your legs sliding across on a table. So my hip, knee and ankle all remain in line. As I get tired, my foot doesn't scoop towards the floor like that. It stays lifted. So breathing out to go forwards and in to return. Good. So what I'd like you now to do is just put your hand on the curve of your lower back. And I don't want you to feel any movement there. I want that movement to come from the hip. So I want this to be nice and still in your lower back. So movement's lower down. So from up here upwards is staying the same. Breathing out to go forwards, in to return. So if I put my hand on the top of my hip, good. I should feel that in that joint there. So this is a lovely ball and socket joint and that nice free movement. Good. By adding in that hip movement, it actually helps mobilize something called our sciatic nerve, which is a nerve that runs down the back of the leg there. Good. So you can make that range as big as you can, as long as you don't start moving this part of your body to do it. It comes from the hip. Last couple of movements there for us. Final one. Good. Okay. Lovely. Let's relax that hip off. Good. Okay. We're just going to roll through onto our back. We can remove your head cushion. Okay. And just come onto your back. Bring your feet together. Make a little V shape and take them apart. And we're just going to get both muscles kicking in a little bit now. So draw the fingertips down towards your toes. tuck your chin. Okay, we're going to start off doing some nice bridges. Now in some of our other workouts we've done bridge with a roll up and a roll down. We're going to do a straight line bridge now. So this means that this all stays in alignment. So keep the chin tucked, fingertips down, and we're literally lifting up, squeezing the muscles in your bottom here at the top and coming back down. Good. What's quite useful to do is to put a little block between the knees. So this is a 3-inch head block from APPI, but what you can do is just get a small cushion or pillow, pop that between your knees. Remember the chin, open through the chest. So we're literally coming up, squeeze here, and come back down. Good. Breathing out. And in and hold. And out. Good. So there's lots of versions of our shoulder bridge. We're just doing this one as a little bit of recovery before we go on to the other side. So we're just getting both bottom cheeks working here. When we do it as a straight line bridge like this, we get more glutes working. So these big muscles in our bottom, you might have heard of your glute max. This is what we're trying to work. Okay. When we do the nice roll through the bridge, we get some nice mobility in our spine and create different focuses. If this is nice and easy for you, we can lift up. We can lift one foot off, bring it back, and we can lift the other leg. Good. So what you will see here is a leg that's down on the ground. That's the bottom cheek that's having to work. So I don't want to be dropping my pelvis, squeezing that bottom cheek to keep it lifted. Watch that chin. You might have seen mine just start to poke upwards. Good. And we can do a few repetitions here, breathing out to reach and lengthen away and in to return. Or we can come down in between. Good. Breathing out and in and out. So what you should do, whether you come to my classes or whether you're just watching these videos online, you should find what works for you and what level's appropriate to you. Good. Okay, we'll just do 2 more there. Good. Come down. Good. Okay, we're going to go down onto the other side and just repeat the side series through. So I'm going to bring back my 1-inch cushion and come down onto this side. So onto the side here. Remember that length through the side of your body. If it doesn't feel comfortable with your arm in this position, you can bring it in, bend it, whatever works for you. Okay, so we can talk through this quickly now. Bring the heels together, the hips, the shoulders, the ears in line. Good. Draw the hip away from you. Angle forwards. Good. So start those clam level 1. Open and close. Good. I don't mind what you do with your top arm. Just make sure that you don't scrunch the top of that body there. We talked about the ribs. Keep them in. Good. Angle down. That chocolate's under there that I'm not going to melt. Good. If you want to, come to the level 2 here. Breathing out to open, in to lower. Good. So we should be starting to feel this on that top hip. Now we're all different, so you might find that this is your strongest side. So you do a few more before you feel that repetition. So that burn that we get around those muscles, that's when we know that we're starting to make some change. So in order to build strength and build control, you need to work to fatigue. So those last couple of exercises need to feel a bit of an effort to do. If they're dead easy and you can keep doing more and more, that's fine, but you're not going to be building upon your strength. You need to work towards fatigue, and that's really, really important. But if you're just doing it because you enjoy exercise, you enjoy the Pilates, and you're doing it from a mental health point of view, just do what you feel comfortable with. It depends what you're trying to get out of it. Good. Lovely. 2 more. Breathing out to open, in to lower. Last one. And relax. Good. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to lift the heels off. I'm going to be at the level 2, but you can stay down in level 1, and we do the leg extensions. Good. So if you wonder how long this is going on for, this should take us probably about 20 minutes to do this series through. Okay. And again, if we do some later videos, depending on how all this goes, what we will do is we'll start to increase these. So we really start to work into those hips at some higher levels, if that's what you want to do. Good. Remember, knees are staying wide. I'm reaching that leg away, that length, working a little bit on endurance. My bottom leg staying nice and still. Good. 2 more. And last one. And the knees together and close. Just relax that top hip off. Good. Okay. And then what we did is we found ourselves into our side leg kick level 2. So remember, you reach that leg away, still stretching that top hip, opening that hollow here. Watch that I don't flare that rib cage. That's the ribs coming forwards. My ribs should stay on top of my pelvis. Leg lifts, it's in line. We sweep that leg forwards and then flex it backwards. So as we talked about before, if you want to, you can place the hand on your lower back. Make sure the movement's coming from our hip. So when you bring the leg back, don't let it go too far past midline, because otherwise you're going to start to arch your back. So that hip joint will probably extend by about 10 degrees. And if you go past that, you'll probably just move in the back. And again, remember, we want it to be about these muscles around your hip. That's the focus of this sideline series. Good. And that's lovely, that foot movement, that breathe out, the foot pointed and flex to come back into that breath in, breathing. Good. Keep that control. So everything's staying the same through the middle here. Remember that leg sliding on a table. And we're going to do 2 more there. And in. Last one. And in. Good. And relax that leg in. Let's just give it a little bit of a rub off. Just ease it through. Good. Okay. You can always give it a little bit of a tap. Just desensitize it. That's absolutely fine. Okay. And then what you could do is go back onto your back and continue with that shoulder bridge series that we did a minute ago. So there's lots of ways that we can stretch through these muscles now if you want. So if you'd like to, we can take ourselves onto our back, cross one foot over and draw into your chest. We've got that nice opening action here. Okay. Don't want the knee to be too folded up around you. Keep it nice and open. Good. And we should be feeling this around this hip on this side. Good. We're holding that position. Just relax that breathing. If your hips don't move in that position, you can bring the foot back down. That's fine to have it there. Good. And then we'll just swap on to the other side. So put that heel on, draw in towards you, hold that there. Good. And again, we're feeling that around the hip. So keep that knee pushed away. So I want you to think about a window being here. My hands are around this thigh, with this leg just nicely relaxed. Good. Okay, and then let's just slowly ease off out of that position. Roll through the side and just bring yourself back up into a sitting position. So that should be a nice introduction to a couple of side lying exercises. So we've just done some clams, level 1 and level 2 with a variation with the opener. And then what we've done is our side leg series, so our side leg kick level 2. And again, that just brings in some nice hip movement, isolating that hip movement from our back movement, and also brings in sort of a glide around some of the neural structures, so some of the nerves around the leg, and makes us focus a little bit on that control. So thank you, and we'll take ourselves into some other exercises later.